Oh, hello there. It's been a while. We've missed you. Season 40 is here, and it's gonna be a doozy. Buckle up. Stranded is back.
36 days, 40 castaways, 4 eliminated players, and 1 podcast. This is Stranded in the Aegean Sea, and I'm your host, Poody. Today we're joined by the players of the pre-Mega Merge. These are all players who were voted out of the game. It looks like we have, well, now 5 of you guys, but I'm sure some people may pop in, but we'll go from there. From the people that are here now, I see Michelle, who was the first boot of Stranded in Greet.
Hello.
I also see Mike from Stranded in Rhodes.
Folks, how's it going?
Sydney from Stranded in Rhodes.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me, but
We can. You're good.
Okay.
Tiffany from Stranded in Rhodes.
Hi.
And Voce, also from Stranded in Rhodes. You know, your Crete people have disappeared on us, Michelle. Hey, Voce. All right. So I guess let's just start out. You guys have been great in the Lurkers Den, Lurkers Lodge, whatever we call this, the Lurker server. But your time was cut short. I'd like to just hear from, I guess we'll start with Michelle, since she's first alphabetically, as well as boot order.
Okay.
And you've been one of the Lurkers longest. So how have you been finding the season, even though your time was cut very short?
Yeah, well, it's been fun watching. Like, I didn't know what an org was, like, when you messaged me. So it's been fun at least seeing everything, like, behind the scenes, because, yeah, I had no idea how this worked. And it's been fun, like, watching and getting to have all the knowledge that players in the game don't have yet. So I feel kind of fun with that. Like, we get to know about the Mega Merge, but they didn't. So that was fun.
Mike, you were booted second, but you certainly made a big impression. How has it been for you seeing the players that you played with, a lot of them on your tribe still hanging in there? How's that experience?
It sucks because I'm basically a man alone on an island, kind of sitting here watching everybody succeed. And there's part of you is like, was I just put on the hardest tribe, or was I really just that psychotic of a player? It's cool at the same time because inherently I'm cheering for the people who I played the game with, like Lindsay and Haley, and then kind of quietly hoping to see Will get some up comments for backstabbing me. But yeah, it's really cool to see all the people from my tribe dominating, it kind of feels like to me, in their respective breakdowns of where the season's gone.
I believe up next was Sydney. Sydney, your boot was shocking. I think one of the more chaotic we have had a ton of chaotic councils this pre-merge. It's been wild, but we were shocked by yours.
Yeah, I was shocked. Well, I wasn't shocked because everyone started whispering, and I was like, oh, okay, I know what this means. Should have gone idle hosting right then and there, but, it is what it is.
And we'll get more detailed on that, but just to kind of get everyone's feelings currently, let's go ahead and ask Voce, who I believe was after Sydney. How has it been for you? I know this is not the most fun thing, but I don't know. A lot of people love lurking more than they like playing. How's this experience been playing versus lurking now?
Well, it was definitely more fun playing. Lurking has been fun, but the actual playing was much more fun than I thought it would be.
Well, at least we're glad to hear that. And finally, Tiffany, you were the last of these guys in the game, I believe, at least the ones that are with us now. How is it for you? I know you kind of, I wasn't sure if you were like enjoying the game while you were in it.
It sounds awful, and I'm really sorry, but no, I was not. But I think that that's definitely not a reflection on the game or the people in the game.
Yeah,
I just am in a place right now where, in real life, where I'm not doing well with not knowing what's sincere and what's not, and just trying to gauge what is a legitimate conversation that both people are enjoying, or what is just someone trying to create a false sense of security, So that was a little rough.
No, I totally get that. A lot of players prefer the hosting side or the lurking side to actually playing. Some people get too stressed. Some people are anxiety ridden playing. It's a mixed bag. And really, we can't predict what will happen in the game either. I know, like Mike, you were saying, the original Mausolus tribe was just stacked with players. Everyone's experience is different, and we got to see that, especially this season, with both games going on at the same time with the same game, and yet they had very different results. I'd like to go back to, I guess let's start with Michelle, since you're only Crete member here. What did you feel about your original tribe, and how has it been watching them devolve since then?
Well, I mean, at the start, I liked it. I didn't realize, all the stuff they were talking about, but I liked talking to them. Especially Rachel and Paul, which turns out to have been the mistake. And then watching it, it's been kind of fun, but also kind of frustrating. Probably the most frustrating when I first figured out what was going on, because I was like, damn, really? Okay, that sucks. And then just seeing, I don't know, I guess not to blame people for not being as active, but I was so ready to just be on all the time. So I was kind of annoyed, kind of frustrated, but got over it a bit quickly. It's been fun to watch now though, but yeah, no loyalty to Zachros anymore. So they can come join. I don't care. They're the only people I met. So when everyone else gets booted, I'm like, I don't know what to say to you. I haven't met you. So I only wanted to see Zachros people come here.
Yeah, it's a weird experience in that every time we do these pre-jury, pre-merge, whatever you're going to call them, podcasts with the players that were out earlier, it's almost like it's cathartic in a way. I don't know. We don't get the jury experience with these earlier boots, so they don't get the chance to yell at these guys. But we get to trash their games while they're still there.
Yeah.
Is there anyone from your original tribe that you're rooting for?
Rachel.
Yeah, she was the only one of the outsiders that's still there.
I guess in terms of who's also playing a good game from that tribe, Jay is. But just on principle, I don't think I can root for anyone that voted me out. So Rachel's left.
I'll bounce around a little bit, but back to Chimeras, because we have 3 of you guys here. What's that like now, seeing each other all here voted out and seeing some of those guys still in the game? A good handful of those guys.
We're all great friends over here, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely no hard feelings.
Yeah, definitely no hard feelings.
Well, that's good.
Well, maybe
it does feel like there's a lot of us over here, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. Mike, to speak to that, a lot of your people are still in the game.
Sucks. I hate it. It drives me crazy. Just even looking at the way they've all played, everyone's played an awesome game. And it feels like old Mausolus tribe kind of kickstarted off of my vote. I don't know if other people have seen it that way, but we had the first vote that got Vince out, and that was very... in the same way we're talking about catharsis, it was very cathartic for us to kind of get Vince out and be like, oh, we have numbers. And then immediately the next round of votes, I'm just out. But I'm watching everybody playing hard and playing smart. And it feels like that was really kind of the spark that gave old Mausolus the ability to run and go on that tear for immunity. And here we are.
Yeah. Of the players that are still in, who are you rooting for and against from your original tribe?
Actively, I'm Team Halsey for sure. Those two, Lindsay and Hallie, were with me from day one. So I want to see them go far. They have that underdog story, which is so much fun to watch, and seeing the up and down of Lindsay's emotional state, where she's a high one day and then there's a swap and she's like, I'm on the bottom again, and watching her fight, it's amazing, because that was definitely a person I wanted to play. And Lindsay and I both saw each other as a mutual threat, which is what made it fun to kind of play with her and interact with her. And then on the flip side of that, Tyler, I really love the way Tyler's playing. He's playing just this really well-positioned game. He's making the right relationships with the right people. Go Will, just because it'd be a good, fitting end to the Emoji King. He's sane and crazy and got this just everywhere kind of play style. He's working with everyone, which means he's working with no one. So yeah, it'd be very satisfying to kind of watch him go. And then Carolyn as well, very, very kind person, but they just are on at weird times and not as active as everyone else. So it doesn't feel like they're contributing to the game in the same kind of ways that the other players on the old Mausolus tribe are right now.
Yeah, there are definitely specific characters I want to ask you guys' perspective of, because we are watching them now and they're batshit. And so we're just entertained by it, but I can't imagine interacting with them. And then, what that experience is like how do you view them one-on-one? Because we're just seeing them all over the board, but I'm sure it's different when you're just talking to that one person. For instance, how do you view Will? It's like from here, it just looks like a ton of emojis, and we're like, well, I guess one-on-one, like maybe that just comes across really friendly. But when we see it like in confessionals, we're like, oh God, that's so annoying.
He's a crazy person, clinically insane.
Yeah.
Like there's no other way to describe that person. It's even in like the one-on-ones. Like when I was getting blindsided, I kind of knew I was getting blindsided because Will kind of has just like a predetermined script that he'll say to players. Like, I got you 100%. And then like the more in danger you are, the more zeros he adds to the end of that number. So like the night I went, it wasn't I was safe 100%. I was safe 10,000%. He's a crazy person, but I love him. He's a crazy person.
Well, we purposely cast the crazies in Stranded, so you get used to it. You're amongst good company. Will and you alike. Let's go ahead and talk to some of the Chimeros people, because there are several people on that tribe that I would also classify as crazy. I'll start with Brad, just because. Wow, he's playing.
Oh yeah, he is. Sure he is. I'm kind of preying on his downfall a little bit. I don't know. I think it's gonna
he's
be
the only person I'm not cheering for.
Yeah, when I was playing with him, I kind of felt the need to pacify him a bit. But I just thought there's no way he's gonna make it to jury. I mean, he's just like unpredictable. And then finding out what I found out about him after leaving the game, I don't know. I think he's trying his very best. And I don't know how it's going to end up working out for him, but it's fun to watch. Not fun to be a part of, I'll say that. It's not fun to play with him. It's fun to watch him play with other people.
Yeah, I'm shocked, because there were like 4 people we cast that all had kind of the same, maybe 5, that kind of had the same play style. One was Mike, one was Chris, both of which were out very early. I really think Brad was the only one of those, Brad and Dominic, who kind of went the distance, or are going the distance. We'll see. The distance being final 20. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why Brad in particular made it through. I guess too, you guys had a slew of crazies on that tribe. So
don't forget, he was a second away from being voted out. So he almost left.
Yeah, I really kind of felt like on that tribe in particular, at least from our perspective, Jeannie and Ricard teamed up really early, and they were almost a voice of reason amongst like Nasir, Brad, Erica, just to name a few.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking at one point. I was like, I think that Jeannie and Ricard and me and Tiffany might be the only people who are making sense right now. And that's worrying. I remember I said that to multiple people, and I was like, I don't know if everyone is necessarily on the same level of cool, calm, and collectedness that I feel like we should all be on right now.
Yeah. Voce, I don't. Voce, you were okay. You kind of had the early idol that you found. Kudos.
He was a bit squirrely because he had the first target on him, so that's fair.
That idol threw everything off for me. Like it completely changed everything, right? Since I had that early target, and then after that I was just telling lies and just, I don't know, I was just erratic after that.
Can I ask a question about the idol?
Go for it.
I just wanted to ask, if you get the password and you get in there, do you have to then like post and claim the idol, or how does that work?
So what happened was, so once you get the idol, you have to copy and paste it to one of the hosts. The problem was I found the idol on my phone, and I just couldn't copy and paste it off my phone. I don't know why. I could do it off my laptop. So because I couldn't copy and paste it, I kind of panicked a bit, and I was afraid somebody else would get in there. And I was just kind of trying to copy and paste it, and I accidentally posted in a forum. And that is what, because I was just afraid if I don't copy and paste it to a host, somebody else would be able to get in there. I don't know if that was the case. Could somebody else get in there after that?
That's interesting, because after like that. So basically a clerical error kind of fucked you twice, Voce, because first that time, because we all knew you had the idol, and so automatically you had a target.
That was my fault.
Then again, because you thought fucked you. Yeah, I mean, it's both your fault.
Yeah.
You didn't know it was your fault until later.
Yes, yes, so that blocking thing, I went back and it was right before the other tribe's tribal council, so yeah, that's probably what happened. But it was just the timing was because you literally said, I'm going to go figure this out. And then I couldn't message you after.
And
So I thought you had blocked me.
Didn't I go figure it out? Didn't I come back to you?
I actually went offline right after, and I only came back like an hour and a half later. So by then, I thought I was unblocked. Yeah.
Blockgate.
It's interesting because, in the game of Survivor, why would you want to block anybody? Because isn't that just like cutting off any possible communication? And why would you want to do that?
Well,
I thought it was a bad move on your part.
I think Jessica has blocked 2 people. I'm not totally sure, but people are doing it. So
you can do it.
You can do it. Jessica's just on another planet. I don't know. Yeah.
Cindy, that wasn't the reason I voted you out. I actually wanted Brad out that night. I didn't want to vote you out.
Another thing I was going to say about Brad is Brad could have gone out for both me and Voce, but at the last minute.
Yeah, and I wanted that. Just Erica didn't want that.
Speaking of Erica to us is like a kind of an enigma because she's a paranoid player, and I think she's reacting off of things other people say or just anything that freaks her out. And a lot of you guys fell victim to that. What was your experience with Erica? Was it someone you thought you could trust, or how was that?
So for me, 100%, I could trust her until obviously she voted for me. But yeah, it was 100%.
I didn't necessarily feel like I could trust her, but I felt like if I continued to have her back, why would she not have mine? I just thought she's smart enough to know what's in her best interest. And so I knew I was in her best interest for the time being. But you're right. She was very squirrely and paranoid about the way she picked up on small social cues. And that fucked me over. So I don't know. I don't know what her end game is necessarily because she seems to be making quick decisions, not long games.
Yeah, I would agree. Maybe that's benefiting her. I don't know.
It has benefited her up to now. Now, I did not realize she was quite this paranoid until after I got voted out and I went back and read her confessionals and all that. Right. I did not know she was that bad.
Me neither. Yeah, I definitely underestimated her level of worry because she didn't really convey that to me, at least, or in any of the group chats we were in. So I don't know. I mean, it's working for her. She's still in. We're not.
It's funny because you say she didn't convey to. She actually conveyed it to me once or twice. She's like, "Oh, I feel like I'm on the bottom," when it was absolutely not the case. And I literally thought she was just joking. She was just trying to just say that, But I think she actually did feel like she was on the bottom for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad, honestly, because me and Voce, you and I both wanted to keep her in. I think you and I were both probably her number one allies. But
I would never voted for her. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. So yeah. So I mean, exactly.
and like you were saying with Voce's simple mistakes that kind of spiral in the early game. Sometimes it's just luck of the draw. I want to go back to Michelle a little bit. Michelle, of the players that are still in, I want to know what it was like interacting with Jessica.
Jessica, she was really nice, overly sweet. I didn't have not I have negative thoughts now, but I didn't really have negative thoughts then. I didn't realize she was as emotional, I guess, as she'd be playing. But I think hers was the most, not confusing after the fact, but the vote when it happened, I was so confused because just before Tribal, she was we'd be such good friends in real life. I just want to let you know that. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks. And then she writes my name down and I'm like, oh, okay. That was neat. And then her vote was also the one that was I shouldn't have been in that alliance. And I was like, who are we talking about? That's not me. It was me, apparently. Oh, well.
Yeah, Jessica's seemingly, I'm not sure if she totally gets the game. I think it's purely emotion going on. But even some technical aspects of how the game works, I'm not sure she fully understands. So it's interesting to watch. I'm riveted.
Oh, and I'm not. I go watch probably
I go back and forth on rooting for her or rooting against. It's just she's all over the place, but I can't stop watching.
She's so unique. I'd love to watch her play. And I remember she told me that she was in the casting decision. I don't know how far she got for like season 10 or something of like Survivor. And then,
wow.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so she's got to be so interesting because you don't just, get recruited by Survivor for nothing. So I was so intrigued by her, and I still am. So she's probably the most interesting person for me. Not that I'm rooting for her to win, but I think I'm rooting for her to go far just because I want to see her play.
Yeah, and we have that. I mean, honestly, when we cast, we only cast people that are entertaining to us. Like, we're not going to cast game bots, although we have some, but those are the ones that they have to have something else behind it. Because we get a million 18-year-old applications, honestly, that are like males, and they usually are Discord org players with not a whole lot of backstory. This season we had 18-year-old males who had like really interesting backstories, so those were some exceptions. But for the most part, they all have the same kind of application where they want to lay low in the beginning and play hard at the end. And it's like you start to see when you get 100 applications, you start to see patterns. But on Stranded, we try to get a good cross-section, just like the real show tries to do. Of the players, I'll stick with Michelle for now. I'm going to bounce back to Mike afterwards. Of the players on Leto, do you feel like you would have gotten along better with that tribe? And if so, who would you have wanted to team up with, do you think?
I think I would have probably, it's hard to say. I think I would have probably gotten past round 1. I guess assuming Libby was still there, because it sounds like everyone else is active.
It's a low bar.
That's all I can give myself. I would get past round 1. I don't know who I'd bond so much with. I feel like I got a similar energy reading Stephanie's talks and confessionals to Rachel, so maybe. And then, I don't know, I feel like maybe I would have had something to say with James because he was also a bio student, so I could just talk to him about that. But probably would have been in there. But then, I guess James and Morgan are also out now, so maybe that wasn't a good read, but oh well.
Yeah. Speaking of people who probably wish they were on a different tribe, Mike, I know you had good players on that tribe, but do you feel like you would have fit in better on the other tribe, or it would have been a more... Because the other tribe had a lot of the huge personalities, and I would say your tribe had a lot of the big game players. Although you had Rodney and Will in there, but... How would you feel being on the other tribe versus your tribe?
So before I touch that, I just want to jump back to one thing Voce asked about a few minutes ago, about if you put a password in after somebody's found the idol, can you get in? Yeah, if you do it 2 minutes after the person's found the idol, which we discovered. We can go back to that in a bit, because my recurring theme this season was getting Charlie Brown away from idols twice. But yeah, we'll touch on that. For your question, Poody, I don't know. I can't picture myself on that other tribe, but it's just because of how I was playing. I think me right now, I would have wanted to work with people like Jeannie and Ricard, seeing how far they've gone, but it's so hard for me to gauge. If I went in and played it like the psychopath I did on Mausolus, oh man, it's so tough to say where I would have landed. I think those first 2 days of me on Mausolus, and I've had a few hosts tell me this too, I could have logged off for a week and just not played as hard as I did, and I would have never even thought of voting me out.
You know what? Don't listen to those guys. They suck.
I'd rather play it the way I did,
We're not encouraging that strategy, but also I don't know though. Maybe, but also it's such a that's not true all the time. It depends on the group.
And that's kind of it's hard to know the social dynamics over on that side as well as I did over, especially even with hindsight I have now, plus what I'm seeing from the game overall. I'm happy with the tribe I was placed on because they are excelling. They have, I'm pretty sure they have the majority now in the 20. I'm not sure though off the top of my head, but somebody threw out the stat where there was out of 22 people, 7 of them were still old Mausolus. So yeah, I'm happy with the tribe I was on. It's hard to say though if I would or wouldn't have fit in with all the big personalities. I think it might have allowed me to play more in the background and just kind of be a quietly growing villain as opposed to being just an outright supervillain on Mausolus.
Well, I would say Brad had a very similar gameplay style to you, and he killed it on Chimera. So there's, I don't. It just depends on the people.
Fair enough.
Of the people, so I want to know what it was like playing with Rodney.
Oh man, so Rodney it hurt because it was, and the people have seen my first couple confessionals about Rodney where I just went right at him. It was a shock to my system. Like everybody else was super chill and really easy to like socially approach. And I think that's where I excelled those first 2 games, was just like making everybody like me and not think too much about me until, I picked it up into high gear after Vince found the idol. But Rodney, that first night, I was just like, this isn't how you engage people. His icebreaker to me was like, what's the most exotic animal you've ever seen? And I was like, what do you, I don't know. Like usually my icebreaker is like, oh, hey, what do you do for a living? Where are you from? Stuff like that. Like really simple. It's called an icebreaker. Like Rodney just kicked down the social door. And, between that and Cars 2 on PSP, he was just like this crazy like shadow where like if you shone like the light at him, he'd disappear. And then like you'd turn away and not look at him and he'd be like, hey, vote Nina. But by the way, I'm not going to pre-vote. Peace. And just disappear for tribal. And you're like, who is this guy?
He's like the Babadook.
Yes, exactly. he just kind of like pops up and you're like, oh my God. But yeah, it was really easy to kind of disregard. And that's kind of the way I played it with Rodney, especially, as I moved past day 2. I realized like, there's other people who could bigger potential first move. The first person to be booted from our tribe should have been Rodney. If it was Rodney, I'd probably made it much further in the game.
I'm so glad it wasn't though.
It made everything better. No, you know what? There's so much. Like I said, my boot out really felt like kicked old Mausolus live. So it's like, players like Vince who deserve to go first, especially with my post-game interaction with him. I feel even more strongly about the fact that I got him out first. It worked out the way it was supposed to.
I keep forgetting that you guys are like fighting still.
No, listen.
What's the beef? Spill the tea.
Oh, God. Okay. So I guess I just got to like cover that first couple days on my tribe. So night 1, everybody's getting along, but Vince was really like to his chest and guarded, and he kind of rubbed a few people the wrong way because he was too forthcoming enough with like how he felt about people. He didn't want to say anyone's name, nothing, blah, 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 blah. So then night 1, an hour into the game, I found an idol, but I didn't. And we can talk about that more later. Basically got it taken away from me. So then I was like bloodthirsty to find the idol. So our idol hunt happened on day 2, and Vince kind of messaged me while I was looking for the idol, and he's like, hey, we should work together. And I didn't want to do that at all. So I figured out the idol password, and I go to claim the idol, and then Vince messages me, and he's like, oh, man, I think I got it. It's this password. Oh, my God, I got it. This is crazy. And then I was like, well, that's weird because I found it like 5 minutes prior. So then I get a message from one of the hosts while I'm trying to claim it, and I get told, nope, you did not get the idol. Someone else claimed it before you, which meant Vince basically claimed it 5 minutes prior to what I realized and then tried to play it off like he just found it. So I just went like, okay, this guy's gone. I want him out. I don't like that. I've lost 2 idols in 2 days. Now I'm pissed. So I end up blindsiding him, whatever. The next day, I get booted out of the game, and I come into the Discord, and he is just coming at me. And I have the screenshots because I showed my wife the next day, and I was like, this guy's just ridiculous. Check this out. He's an idiot. So, yeah, I came in, and he's like, I hope you choke on a cactus. And then I was like, well, I hope you choke on your unplayed idol. And then we continued to escalate it from there. And it basically devolved into like an hour and a half of me just beating down Vince and his ego. Because he's like, I personified him, and I think I nailed it. He's like the Call of Duty lobby of people. Like all he was doing was just being like, oh, smacking your dick clean off, thinking about getting me out. And just all this obscene nonsense where I'm like, dude, are you 10 years old? Like what kind of insults are these? So yeah, after our fight, he just full on has not returned. So that's a win for me.
I mean, not far off from the stranded experience that a lot of people get, to be honest.
And then they kiss.
Hey,
yeah.
I would love for him to come back because I was like, hey, it's all love for me. I did not try to start the fight, but I had no problem ending the fight.
We stand a mess on Stranded.
Still good.
I guess I want to go down. Dean, do you have any questions before we go through like regrets on this?
Not this particular second. I can't think of any. I'm chowing down pizza. I'm just listening. So
perfect. Thanks. You've been so helpful. Let's start again with Michelle. We'll go through everybody. First of all, would you play again? And if so, what would you do differently?
I would.
I know you don't.
Oh,
I know
sorry.
you probably wouldn't want to give away your strategy too much on the chance that you might get to play again, but just lessons you might have learned.
I would play again. I mean, it's hard to say what I would do different. I feel like I wouldn't do much differently. Like, what did I do? I was online, right? So,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to play again and be like, haha, I'm going to strategically never log on. Like, I don't know. I was excited to play. I would be excited to play again. So that would be it. If I find an idol day one, I'm probably just playing it because I'm not going through this again. That's all I can say.
Maybe play the idol?
Yeah. If I played that would have been great if I had played it. But I wasn't going to. Like, no one said anything to me. So
you had no inkling you were going.
Yeah.
So.
But I think because we got the wrong clue, right? So I think if I had found it earlier, maybe I would have told someone, and like they would have said, "Hey, your name," because I think Rachel might have known or Michaela might have known. So if I had told one of them, then maybe something could have happened. But I found it so late, and I wasn't going to tell anyone like just before tribal.
Yeah. Well, shit happens.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? Mike, would you play again? And if so, what would you do differently?
Okay, I'll ask a question to your question first. Would you let me play again?
I would. Look, anyone who is passionate about coming back was good the first time, which I would describe most of the pre-merge, whatever, this season to be. It's a strong possibility. So would you come back? And
100%.
What would you do differently?
I would definitely, I am eager to come back, maybe over eager. I would probably demand that you guys give me that idol that I found that first night. That's the one thing I would do differently, because that was crazy and fun. And I found an idol in the first hour without any hints and created chaos immediately. So yeah, I'd be like, hey, no, give me that idol, even though I know you guys wouldn't. Other than that, I'd still kick Vince out first because that guy sucks. So I don't know. I'd probably just not push so hard for my agenda out the gate. But I guess that's the tricky part of it too, is I guess be less of myself in some regard in that way, because I very much so have no problem pushing what I want and just being like, hey, we should do this, especially when nobody else wanted to. And yeah, just more little more subdued, but still maybe crank up my villainy and my confessionals from where they were to 10 times that.
Yeah, it's always fun. How's your wife doing? Look, I had 40 people, so I might be mistaking you with someone else, but she was pregnant, correct?
Still is. It's actually funny because for 7 months I've been predicting today would be the day the baby would come. She's due on April 2nd. So there's part of me that every couple minutes I'm looking at the door just being like, she's gonna kick the door in and be like, yo, it's on. She is super uncomfortable. She is ready for this thing to get out of her. But no, she's good. Everybody's really just excited to have this kid get here.
Yeah, we wish you the best. And if you disappear, we'll assume it's good news.
Yeah. You guys will all hear one way or another.
Okay, great. Sydney, if you had the chance to play again, would you? And what would you do differently?
I don't really think it's a question of would I. think I will, and I'm manifesting it, and I'm not really someone who takes no for an answer, so I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. And I don't think I would, I don't know. I was very authentic and true to myself, and I'm a bit of an abrasive person, and I'm okay with that. Maybe I'd rein that in, but I kind of was thinking I'm not going to change myself for whatever it is coming. Maybe I would find an idol. I don't know, though. I think it all depends on the chemistry that you have with the people around you. And I just didn't have good chemistry with a lot of the motherfuckers on Kamira's tribe. So next time, maybe, I'm still pretty solid in my, I don't think me getting out was entirely my fault. So I'd like to retry. I'm manifesting. I will retry my strategy. If it doesn't work again, it doesn't work.
Love that.
If I can just jump in too, because it's about Sydney, I don't know why some people didn't like you. I have no idea. You seem like a likable person and all that.
I don't know if anyone didn't like her. I think she,
Tiffany didn't like me. Tiffany didn't like me.
At first, and then I think I pretty quickly went back to confessional and said, I feel so bad about that, blah, 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 because I did. I still do. I'm sorry. It was just our one conversation. So it was just something that I have a hard time with online interaction as opposed to in person, because in person you can feel a person's vibe a lot better. If they're joking or, and I think I just mistook things a little. So, and yeah, I felt really bad about it. I think I've told everybody. It was one of the first things out of my mouth when I got booted was I feel so bad for what I said about Sydney. And it wasn't like, I don't feel like I said, I didn't call you like, a bitch or anything. I didn't think that way about you.
We can start beef like Mike and Ben.
Yeah. Vince and Mike, yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, that could be fun, but I'm sure I would lose. They're pretty tough.
Yeah, you would lose. Yeah, that's fine. I have sour taste in people's mouths, but I think it becomes an addiction over time.
Tiffany, would you play again? And if so, what would you do differently?
Well, I think I'm probably one of the few that you wouldn't want to see play again. But let's say something bizarre happened, and it did happen. I would probably embrace the insanity and the paranoia and not be so much myself. It was a weird dynamic for me because I don't know if everyone was honest about their ages, but when, like in the intro thread, some people were the same age as my kids, So It was just weird. And I felt definitely like no one wants to talk to their mom or, stuff like that. So
that's not true.
Well, I could see. Honestly, I have a great relationship with my kids.
If you play the mom card, Tiff, then everyone tells you their secrets. People love being vulnerable with their moms.
I just felt like, for so long watching, it's like I'm in my 40s. My youngest kid will be 18 in a few weeks. My older two are in their 20s. From watching, old school shows like this, everyone looks at the old person as the easy boot, get rid of them. They don't fit in, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's where my head was. And I didn't know anything about this game. I mean, I watched Survivor and, all that stuff, but I didn't know anything about this. I'd heard of stuff like this, but I didn't do proper research to see how it goes. And so I think I was just going off of that stereotype. But I think the one fun moment I had in the game was when I was embracing paranoia and getting all, into conspiracy theories about Brad's fake idol. That was fun. And there were other times, though, where, you guys watching probably thought I was going in that direction, but I don't feel like I fully jumped into it in those moments. Like, I think my last day, right before the tribal where I left, I was trying to have a conversation with JD because I felt bad for him because I felt like he was on the outs with people wanting to work with him because he hadn't been around. And I was trying to talk to him about things he was interested in because that's what I would want someone to do for my son. And we were talking about theater, I think, and he said sometimes it sucks. Or, he doesn't feel great about performances. And I said something like, well, your worst is still better than my best. And he was gone for a little while, and then he came back and he said something like, you're right. And so, like, you start to feel the paranoia of, oh, he's probably talking about the game. He's going to flip on me. That's what he's talking about. And, like, should I go talk to people to see if I can stop that, if that's where it's going? And then I was like, no, I don't want to stop that. This is rough. I just can't do this anymore. But I feel like if I embraced all the insanity, it would be more fun. And yeah, I think that's the only way I could do it again.
I feel like, your first time too is such a unique experience. And I think when you go into it knowing kind of what is going to come and, knowing that you're going to encounter some crazy people and what that journey's like. But also I want to talk about the fact that we had several people that were your age this season. Of course, you didn't get to interact with too many of them. Tyler was 41. Michaela was 41. Jessica's 40. Will is 36, surprisingly, shockingly. But, Stranded skews older. I myself am 32, going on 33 very soon. So, I don't know if that's... I could see how you would feel that, because that's definitely the case. Yeah. For myself personally, especially on Discord org, stay far away, because it's all like 18-year-olds. But no, I think Sydney had a good point. I think maybe next time embrace that.
Well, also, I'm the resident MILF hunter, so if you're not afraid to be a MILF, own that shit.
And look, To that point, Susie, one of our older players, was in a MILF alliance, which was all moms who were older women that had children, and they all got together, and one of them won the whole game. So, it's just...
That's really awesome.
It's different experiences for different players. And actually, this season, we were supposed to have a 67-year-old applied, and I was trying to get a hold of them so hard, but we just couldn't.
They've got to deal with, Social Security probably and stuff.
No. I mean, maybe, but,
I don't know.
I had a birthday during the game, and I turned 43, and I was kind of hoping I would get voted out on my birthday so I could have a whole rock star moment from Big Brother.
Iconic, yes.
Yeah, I was kind of looking forward to that. Like every tribal, I was planning out, okay, this will be my last message to them, then I'm out. And I really haven't even lurked a ton, because a few times I did, and people were just saying awful stuff, like not game related, just like personal things. And I'm telling you, like right now, my parents are getting a divorce. They're in their 60s. My mom has been really awful with it. I'm just not in the best frame of mind to take on more stress,
Right.
And so I would have done better if I had just said, fuck it, I don't care. And like I said, embrace the insanity.
Yeah. Finally, Voce, would you play again? And if so, what would you do differently?
Yes, I would play again for sure. And what I would do differently, that is very easy to answer. I would definitely start less rumors, because I had no idea people talk quite so much. So every rumor I started always made it to the ears of the people that it was about. And I just didn't realize people talked quite that much.
Oh, yeah. I hope you know, Voce, we never talked about this. Your whole talk about the all-girls alliance, I just wanted you to know that. We wouldn't have done it if it weren't for you.
Yeah. Once again, that was just to get the target off my back. So I started that rumor, and then,
Well, that's so much for that, because, I feel like almost all the women got booted pre-swap.
Well, it didn't go anywhere, but thanks for the idea. Thanks for the idea, Voce.
Yeah, and then I started the group with Sydney, Liana, and Jeannie, I think, to try to put another target on your guys' back. I don't know if it worked or not.
Yeah, were you the one that started Sid Lee G?
Yes, that was me.
Yeah, I don't think that worked, because I was just like, y'all, that wasn't us, and then everyone was like, yeah, that wasn't us. But it was a good play. It was a good try.
Yeah, I just tried a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have many other questions. Does anyone have anything that they are dying to get off their chests before we start closing this out?
You didn't ask us who our winner picks are.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about the game that's going on currently, the big merge. Who are your winner picks? Just anyone.
I'm all in for Jeannie.
I think it's a very good pick.
I think it's a smart pick. I think when I first met them, I was like, oh, I'm going to want to stay next to this person because they're my winner pick and I'm still in the game.
Anybody else with winner picks?
I agree. Sorry, just to jump back for a second too, when you're talking about the 67-year-olds, I legitimately believed Rodney was either 12 years old or 60. So it's just funny you mentioned that. But
yeah, could go either way.
It really could have. I mean, he was saying his favorite movie was Shark Tale and he was a bartender. And I was like, there's no way. No, for winner picks, I think Jeannie's a good one. Jeannie, Tyler, Ricard, or Sharin. I think any one of those four are probably in a really good spot to win the game and a lot of fun to watch.
But I guess there's also something to be said for who do you want to win the game versus who do you think will.
Yeah.
And do those align?
Right.
And it sucks when they don't align because
well, unfortunately, or I guess, I don't know, maybe fortunately, a lot of times, the understated player has an easier time getting to the end. I don't know about winning, but certainly I don't think anyone who's so far out ahead has a great shot at winning, just because the big target they'll paint on themselves. But I do think Jeannie and Tyler have done a good job of managing that, and certainly have the smarts to get there. So those are pretty good picks.
Yeah, I think Jeannie's a good pick too. That I didn't really get to know them well enough, but I feel bad that Brad seems to be not doing very well because he was fun. And
is Brad not doing very well?
I don't. It's hard to tell. Honestly, he's so all over the place. I feel like sometimes he's doing really well.
Yeah, I feel like it's been hard to tell if he's doing very well since like day one.
I think he's so all over the place that sometimes he is doing well and other times he's not. It's a
I think the
crapshoot.
last time I lurked, I saw on the chat messages, I saw someone getting super excited about the idea of blindsiding Brad. So I guess that's where that idea was coming from. And
I'm so jealous.
About blindsides.
He wants to blindside Brad, I think.
Yeah, wouldn't you guys like to blindside Brad? Like, wouldn't that just feel really good, like deep down in your stomach to do?
No, Brad was the only one that I felt kind of okay joking around with, because I'm a smart ass and not everybody gets my sense of humor, but I felt like he was also a giant smart ass. So I probably was a little more open with him just in that. But I really never, and I've read his confessionals and he said that I was like, he was working closely with me, but I never really knew, felt confident that he felt that way. But I'm enjoying what I do see of his gameplay, and the fake idol is hilarious.
I think that's fair.
Tiffany, did you think the idol was real when you played it?
Yeah, and I went into this whole, I woke up the next day or 2 days later, I don't remember, and I had this whole conspiracy theory about, okay, well, if Brad has one and he got it from this, and that means this person might have one, and blah, 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 blah. And I went, pretty deep into nuttiness, and that was fun. Trying to figure out all that stuff was fun. And then when he messaged me after I laid it out for him and Erica, he messaged me and he's like, I have to tell you something. And I was like, if you lied about that, I'm going to kick your ass. And he's like, yeah, it was fake. So, blew that.
I kind of adore him. I would want to backstab him at the same time. He's so...
Yeah, I think he's very entertaining and funny and likable.
Silly.
Maybe not trusting how he plays, but, it would be fun to talk to him. It would probably be fun to play with Brad, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know why he decided to work with me, because I didn't feel like I had anything to offer. So I don't know what he was thinking there. So yeah, he might need to reevaluate how he looks for allies if he ever plays again, but that's it.
When it was me or Tiff or Erica, because he was in this other group chat, and then verified it by letting us into their group chat by giving us the password. I was like, what does this benefit? I mean, this is benefiting me, Erica, not benefiting you whatsoever.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
I don't
question
know
for
how
Dean.
that went.
In one of the tribal councils, I just want to understand what you meant by it. You wrote, press F in chat for your idol. And what exactly did that mean?
I was just being silly.
Because I read before the game where I listened to the podcasting, and you guys said that idols can be found at tribal councils. So I thought maybe that was an actual opportunity to find a idol or something.
No, F in chat. I had to learn this the hard way too.
F in the chat council? Is that what happened?
It's a meme.
I did, but then I also did it in the chat after the tribal council.
So posting F means someone died and you're paying respects, basically, is an internet meme. I think that's what...
Yeah, it's sort of like
a video game.
It's like a gamer version of sending thoughts and prayers.
Did I know that and you guys did? Maybe because I had teenagers when
I was just trying it. I didn't think it was, but I wanted to try anything. I was like, I'll just try it.
That's valiant, though.
Love that. Yeah, no, Dean's not
just given me an idol anyways.
He's not a good source for finding idols, Dean. Don't ask him for idol advice.
I can vouch for that.
I was wondering if you guys have a log of, I mean, I doubt it. That would be a lot, but a log of all the different passwords tried.
No, and you're not the first person. Every season I get hosts who are like, can we see a log of who entered passwords? It's not, I don't think it's possible. I think because for security reasons, it's just not built that way. But you're not the first person to ask for that. I kind of wish we did.
I was writing messages to you in it why the fuck is it not this?
Iconic. Finally, any final thoughts on the way the game is going? It's down to 20. I think so far, for my money, this season's been super entertaining. I mean, obviously, we've had a lot to keep track of, which has added to there being a lot to talk about. But, the players left, I think, are all great.
Yeah, I will say that the 40-person thing, that twist is really cool, but seems like a lot of work for you guys to deal with. I don't know how you're keeping track of 40.
We'll never do it again, but it was fun for 40. I'm sure it kind of sucked for you guys. I don't know. Was it like I guess I'm like 37th place now, or was it like, well, this is cool. This is like much bigger than I thought it was.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it kind of sucks because I would never get to meet those people. So like that's a completely different game that we're not involved in and we don't really know anything about. So we didn't get to like make I don't know, because I can't really root for them because I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, I don't know much. Exactly. I don't know much about the other game, and I didn't go back to read any of their confessionals or any of that because I'm not connected to them at all.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. And it makes it a lot harder to keep up with because I don't know the background on the relationships between these people and things that have happened that I wasn't there for. And I think if I were lurking on one of your other seasons, it would be a lot easier for me to keep up and understand and get into it, as far as
fair.
I want this person to win or this person's playing so well or whatever.
And Brad and Bradley, what were you guys thinking?
Honestly, as a host, it's hard for me to keep track of. I have no idea what's going on. I just, I show up, I get the highlights from people. We podcast about it, so I get a lot of insight from lurkers and hosts that are more closely watching certain games. So I do recommend the podcasts if you guys haven't checked those out. Those will be helpful.
I'm afraid to listen.
Yeah,
I did listen, but I did skip again over the other
game.
I just skip over those parts. Yeah.
I listened to all of the cast. They were really funny. That's my favorite part of it. Just you guys guessing on what people's is going to be. I love that.
Yeah, sometimes we're like really far off. Sometimes we're pretty accurate. But also it's just, it's random. Sometimes we're not excited about a person and then they come in the game and they like totally take us by surprise.
Yeah.
Not what we thought at all. So it's just,
you guys, on the casting, Sydney, Erica, even Jeannie, Ricard, man, they seem like the actual people. I don't know, talking to them, like the casting was spot on, I think.
Yeah,
we try to match the personalities a little bit, but sometimes it's just what we think would be entertaining. What if there's a crazy Jessica? I don't know. It's just it's random.
I remember having a conversation like that.
So I guess we'll close it out. I don't know. This has always been my fun. We could listen to you guys talk forever. But we do have a game to host, so I will try to close this out. This has been super fun. This is always my favorite podcast every season we have it, even more so than the reunion because we get to talk to you guys more in depth, whereas a reunion is kind of a free-for-all, a hot mess situation. I hope it's been fun. I think this season in particular, the early boots, since there were so many, but even if there were only a handful, have been incredible. It's almost a shame that we didn't get to see more of you guys, but I'm hoping to change that.
You say that to all of your first boots.
You would think so. I don't know. I'm pretty brutal. I would be honest if I thought you guys sucked. No, I genuinely think of our early boots, this season has to be some of the strongest. Dean, you have to agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much good pre-jurors this season compared to the seasons that I've seen and been on, which hasn't been that much. I've only been in Stranded for about a little over a year and a half, but still, y'all are stacked.
Yeah, I mean, even Dean's season had a lot of good pre-jurors, but this group
not
blows
like
it out the water.
No. Yeah, I agree.
So no smoke being blown. I think you guys really are entertaining, and we do have plans for you guys. We can't divulge those just yet, but stick around because hopefully we'll be seeing more of you guys in the near future.
Are you hinting at a pre-game, pre-jury, early boot alliance in a Second Chances season, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't.
Tiffany. Nobody wants to see her play again.
When you guys bring people back, do they get a different character? Or
so
would you
in
give them the same
Stranded,
character?
yes and no. So typically we don't. We give you the same rep and it's open ID. But we do have games now where we will give you a new identity and it's a secret. Australian Stranded, we call it. So we give you a rep from Australian Survivor and it's kind of like a guessing game of who's who. So that's always fun. So the answer is we don't know. The answer is there is no good answer for that. Yes and no. But I can tell you we do bring back people very often, more often than the real show, just because we put so much effort into investing in finding good people. And we like to keep those people when we find them. So there's a good chance.
If you're a different character, are you allowed to reveal to, let's say, somebody else that you feel is the former Sydney? Are you allowed to tell her like that you were the former Voce or something, or no?
No, if we do an alias, we call it alias. You're supposed to hide your identity.
I would just ask everybody if they rode kangaroos.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Hey, you guys played with some Aussies, so you never know. We actually had a lot of Australian players this season. I know Brad is. I think there were like three more. Dean, do you remember?
For what?
Like Australian players?
Do I know any?
Never mind.
I know
there's another one because I saw a conversation between Brad and someone else.
I mean, I know Jay is Australian.
But
okay, Jay is another one.
There's Laurel was Australian, Brad was Australian, and one more. We got one more Aussie on cast.
Yeah, we get quite a few.
I knew Brad was Australian. He would text me in like the middle of the night at like a bar, and then he would be like, "Hey, just woke up."
Yeah,
and he said it in the intro for him. He said, "I'm Australian and I ride
And I know
kangaroos."
Wendell is Israeli. I don't know if he's in Canada now.
He's full out Israeli.
So he's still in. Okay, so he's still in.
His sleep schedule's fucked.
Okay.
Jay is the other Australian. That's what it was. He's very Aussie in his video confessionals.
Oh, the Welch King.
Oh my god.
No, he's Nasir is I think he's in like a Wisconsin Dairy Queen or something. Like he's not.
Yeah, he's like I think he said St. Louis, maybe like something like that.
Yeah,
and then
You're right.
his family is from Welch.
I was worried about being from Texas if people were going to assume I was a stereotype of, an asshole. I get that
I'm from
a lot
Louisiana,
online.
so whatever. We get married to our cousins or whatever people think. We're riding alligators, so whatever. Yeah, no, this has been great. I love all you guys. I hope you guys stick around because we do have hopefully things that keep you entertained and involved, and also it's just cool to meet new people. So we do a lot of work trying to find interesting people, so we like to keep them around. I think with that, I'm going to close this out. But for me, this has been an incredible experience. We wanted to do something different because I've been doing this a long time and we're just here to challenge ourselves. So I think we did it. We found 40 really interesting people, and the goal was to not have any dead weight. And I don't think we had much, if any, this season. So I want to thank you guys for all playing and giving it a good go. And unfortunately, it didn't end. It ended too soon, but I think from what we saw, we really enjoyed having you guys play. So thank you for giving it your all. And I'm sure we will be seeing you in the future. So this has been Poody, and I'm going to sign out. Bye.